So anyway, I a while back on my Facebook group I put up this video about this Mexican businessman puts crazy white liberal in a place. You know, you probably might have seen it.
Dan, you got the money, okay?
I got a few, Bob, yeah.
Okay, you support Trump? You do?
Yep.
Okay.
I was one of the first endorsers, public endorsers of President Trump.
What are you guys going to do?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm gonna answer.
Excuse me, ma'am. Will you please sit down?
And
Please.
Thank you.
That's okay. Please sit down. Let him answer.
okay, in 2000, about 10 feet raising water. That's the best scenario over the next 40, 50 years. That's the best scenario. The worst scenario is about 100 feet. But let's just take the 10 feet. If the water on the planet is going to rise up 10 feet, that means the southern part of the United States is gone. England is gone. Most of Europe is gone. And I can go, most of Central America is gone.
Yeah, and so on and so on. But I'm telling you now, like all bullshit aside, well, if it's called sea level, it's usually because it's level all round. So if I'm in Sydney, what, you think it's going to be a different sea level in Sydney than it is in Melbourne? The level of the sea, yeah? So they're telling us it rises in some areas, but it's low. What? It's either... I don't understand. It hasn't risen. So that's a side issue. But the point is that this was fact-checked by Facebook. So, yeah, I got this false rating on content and flawed reasoning, claim that natural climate changes in the past indicate humans aren't so-and-so. You know, like I just showed you. To fight false news, Facebook pushes misleading content further down in the news feed. We know that. What do you think I get? Nothing. But anyway, this is the first time for me with this sort of thing. If a group repeatedly shares false videos, they're threatening you that they're going to push all of that content down the news feed. Wow, that's not controlling and censoring, is it? Fancy that. Independent fact checkers have determined that content in your group, well, for one, they're not even in my group. My group only has like under 100 people in it. So how are you fucking seeing what in my private group, for one? And so apparently you've got the right, even though you mightn't agree with his opinion or whatever, it's just opinion at the end of the day. So it's hardly false news. Facebook reduces the distribution of misleading content. Why? So you're just censoring. That's censorship. That's like, you know, exactly what we're fighting against. But anyway, Facebook may reduce that group's distribution, like threatening as well. Right? Unbelievable. So then we end up on this climate feedback thing. Oh, in popular video, Dan Pena falsely claims humans aren't causing climate change. So, yeah, alright, yeah, okay. And so, whoop you fucking do. Like, seriously. Whether he whatever he thinks or whatever, we've got a right to share whatever we want to share. You know? So, then they bring all these supposed experts in, like a postdoctoral researcher at the Helmholtz Center of Potsdam, you know, and then a research assistant, you know, from NASA, apparently, UCLA. And then we've got another professor from the Met Office. The Earth's climate has always varied, even before humans began to influence it. Climate scientists have always been clear about this, but human-caused emissions of CO2 and other greenhouse gases have now added a new cause of climate change in addition to the existing causes of natural climate variability. Now, that's all great, but there's other stuff to counter that. So what makes your shit any better than this other guy's shit at the end of the day? You know, oh, cool, you've got a graph. You got a graph. How accurate is your graph? Why is this graph relevant now? Is that why his stuff isn't legit? But like I said before, you know, if you go to Sydney, Bondi Beach or whatever, how much has the water risen? You can go look at photos from 50, 60, 70, 80 years ago. The water hasn't risen. When high tide, it's high tide, it's high tide, and when it's low tide, it's low tide. So where are you having different levels of sea rise? Like, land can sink and stuff like that, but that's got nothing to do with climate, has it? So, yeah, I think they're a bit flawed. And then we've got another idiot here, Columbia University, Director, Centre for Climate and Life. Show the rate of sea level rise has more than doubled. Really? We'd be under fucking water. More than doubled. That could be like 0.0001 millimetre of water rise, So what's your shit any better than the other guy's shit? So, yeah. So, Facebook and all you people, fuck you.
If it were really true, the banks wouldn't invest. The banks wouldn't finance. Now, one motherfucking condominium. So the people that have the money, and I'm jealous of the Vice President, Gore, which Sally and I rode on a plane from South America with a few years ago. I am jealous he came up with a scam before I did. Because the financial institutions, the banks of this world know it's not going to happen. Otherwise, you couldn't get a goddamn loan in London. You know those 30, 40-year mortgages? The world will be over by then. Is Barclays Bank going to give you a motherfucking loan? For the greatest respect, ma'am, it's the greatest fraud that's been perpetrated on mankind this century.